The Willamette Valley is home to professional basketball in Albany, Oregon, and in year 3, the Jaguars are poised for their biggest season yet. The Willamette Valley Jaguars are your local professional basketball team, competing across the western United States, representing the Willamette Valley region in the Basketball League, or TBL. The Jaguars roster is composed of players from across the country, grinding to live out their dreams of playing professional basketball. Every episode, we take you behind the scenes on the latest updates on the team, breaking down performances throughout the season, and interviewing coaches, players, and team executives. Tune in for special episodes to hear from the team's community partners, as well as exclusive interviews with city and state officials who support the Jaguars throughout the season. This is Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. Welcome in to Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. This is a mid-season check-in with two very special guests today. We have head coach and TMO, Coach Mary Stade, as well as Craig McPherson with CNC Woodcutters. Absolutely honored to have both of you on. How are both of you? Glad to have you in.
Awesome.
Doing well. Sun is shining today. It's been an awesome season so far, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you, Isaac.
Craig, I want to start by introducing you a little bit, and first of all, your business with CNC Woodcutters and what you do and how you partner with the Jaguars.
Very good. Craig McPherson. My company is CNC Woodcutters. What we do is provide business-to-business, a lot of business-to-business promotional products. With Mary and the Jaguars, we see an opportunity to help them with their sponsors and sponsorships by partnering with them to produce some of these promotional products that they can either give away as part of that sponsorship package and then get that in the hands of the fans, right? So definitely awesome to see what Mary's doing with the community and the community getting behind it, the businesses getting behind it. Definitely great opportunities for the local businesses as she promotes them during the games, and then her involvement with the community is very cool as well. So that excited me to jump in and let's go.
Craig, tell listeners what initiatives you've led or what products you created for game days.
So some of the products she's done, the mini ball giveaways, and we've partnered up with their sponsors of putting their sponsorship on one side of the ball and then the team logo. We've connected some of our contacts with Mary to help bring in some more sponsorship. So it's been a really good partnership. Everybody's excited in the community to get behind her, and if I can, push people that way to engage her for sponsorship in that, that's a win-win for her. We want to see this. The community's excited. I've done, we did a half-court competition at the last game. The next day, I'm out in the community, and people are engaging me like, hey, we were at that game. That was so fun. My kid did the training camp with the Jaguars. So there is a lot of excitement in the community in and around this team, and their interaction with that community of, taking in these kids and showing them fundamentals of basketball is huge, So that's been a big exciting part of joining up and building an alliance with them.
That's a perfect segue and transition to talking to Coach a little bit, because I want to ask you, Coach, we haven't talked since December on the show, really breaking down, we were talking about all the exciting things that were coming up for the season, and now they're about just under midway through the year. Overall, big picture, how do you feel the season has gone so far?
I feel it has gone exactly how we planned it. And that's really exciting because you can have a lot of plans and they don't generally come to fruition. And, we were kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit with, me coming into the ownership on November 6th and our season starting on March 6th. So we had a lot to do. We were several months behind many of the other teams. And to see what our organization and the people in our organization have created in that short amount of time, and the professionalism that we display at LBCC, the partnerships that we have made with individuals and businesses in our community it's phenomenal and more than I could have ever asked for.
This week, we talked about this on the podcast last week with Tavo and Abby on, but this weekend's games were supposed to be on the road against the Mesa Monsoons in Arizona. Those games got canceled, so you guys ended up kind of having like a bye week that you weren't expecting. And you let the players go home for about a week. How have you spent your bye week now that you don't have any games?
For me, it's business as usual, and I'd love to elaborate on the games being rescheduled. It was a league decision based on what is happening in the world with the war in Iran and the tariff issues that are causing the gas fuel to go up.
Right.
And specifically with airplanes,
Mm-hmm.
because we would have had to have flown, and the amount of money that it would have cost for us to fly this team for 2 games, the league did not want to put that financial stress on us. And so they were able to rearrange the schedule a little bit. None of our home games are affected, which is amazing for our fans. But we were able to do some rearranging that would take some of that financial burden off of everybody, and all of the teams in the Western Conference worked together to make that happen. And so I just wanted to make sure that people understood that this wasn't just games weren't canceled for any crazy reason. It was a business decision based on the circumstances we're facing in the world right now.
Well, looking at your sort of, obviously, that's not something you can really control. It also sounds
Right.
like Mesa as an organization was having a hard time with their venue and their sort of getting a place to play and certain things. But looking at your operations and your game day environment and what's gone into that this season, where do you see like the growth or what's gone into just making game days happen? A lot of obviously adjustments that have had to been, made on the fly. And this is the department that I'm involved in. So I'm just curious, like what you've seen from like a game day standpoint of like the growth, the atmosphere that we've created.
First of all, the number of sponsors and the number of people that support us, including the number of fans, has been a tremendous growth. Our media crew is definitely, yourself included, is definitely producing the top broadcasts in the league. And I have watched every team play at least one game on TBL TV, been able to go back and look at the replay, and are so proud of our broadcasts and just what our gym physically looks like during a game. You see our beautiful media table with our volunteers and our head statistician, Callie Silvers, and just how the table is set up and the way they work with the referees. We've got this gorgeous LED board that is flashing the sponsors' logos across during the entire game. We've got a sideline reporter that is phenomenal. We have got our, we call them interns. They're part of our organization, their family. They're in the crowds, miking up the fans. Yeah. And so I get to see this after the fact on social media, and I don't even realize like when it's going on during the game because I'm so focused on coaching, or I'm in the locker room with the team. And so to go back and see all of that on social media and then see it replayed in the game, I was like, this is how professional basketball is done at our level, right? Mm-hmm. And we are setting a standard for that. We're setting standards for teams that existed before us. We're setting standards for teams that will exist after us in our conference currently, and teams in the TBL across the United States.
And Craig, I want to ask you a sort of follow-up question related to that. Obviously, me and Mary have some of the insight into what's going on behind the scenes to make all of that happen. For you, sort of seeing it from the outside as, a fan and witnessing game day happen, I'm curious, like, of those things that Coach just talked about, like, what is the thing that stands out to you from, like, a fan perspective, from someone who just is viewing the organization?
The engagement with the crowd. There's a lot of excitement. Like I said, I was out the second day after that last Sunday's game, and the atmosphere carried on, with the fans out there. So they're doing the right thing of engaging the crowd. The thing that I have this print shop with all this decoration equipment, and I get to work with Mary and say, hey, let's strategize and see if we could come up with something to maybe bring in more fan base. Here, I'll put up some money, and by me demonstrating that in front of my peers, with my engagement in the Corvallis Chamber and the Albany Chamber, what we're trying to do is bring these other business owners in and continue to build on that crowd engagement. Offer more things to that crowd, make it exciting to come to the game. There was a little kid. They had thrown out a bunch of balls during timeouts and one little kid didn't get something, and I had something and gave it to him. And I know as a fan and being a youngster, you walk out of that game with something in your hand. You're excited about it. I saw the players engaging the fans and autograph. So many kids came up and got autographs. So that was really cool. Those are awesome things that you're making sure that your players are out there engaging with your community and your fan base. So Mary's doing the right thing. Mary brings these players out to the chamber events so the community gets to know them. I had one of the players at my shop last week. We were making a little game with their logo on it, so I'd have it as a giveaway at a chamber. So Jaron Henry came over, and we had a good time. I put him to work, and I said, that's these players need to get out there in our community, and our businesses have to be willing to open their door and let them come in and give them an opportunity and show them what they do. We're all in this together as a community, and I think some mentorship in that, and showing these guys other things going on in this community. I think he seemed very engaged and very interested in my business. So it was fun to be able to share that with him. So, but on the whole media side, I've seen the YouTube channel, the engagement with the fans, and the interviewing. Even interviewing of the opposition head coach was unique, and I thought they very professional. So I think they're doing all the right things.
And I think, talking about the players getting in the community, I think the beautiful thing is when you talk to the players, like, a lot of them, I wouldn't say this is applicable for all of them because I can't speak for all of them, but most of them I talk to say that's the reason they do what they do, is to inspire, to get out into the community and be an inspiration to kids, to the community, to fans. Switching and segueing to the on-the-court product, Coach, I want to talk to you some of your general takeaways and growing points up to this point in the season from what you've seen from a team and a player perspective.
Well, definitely from last year to this year, a lot of progress. I'm not concerned about the 1-4 record at this point because it's kind of by design. The system that I implemented this year was not about winning games immediately and being undefeated. It was about being able to sustain through the season, get to playoffs, and then be able to sustain a run through the playoffs and get to that championship game. Third-year team, one of two teams that are third-year teams in the Western Conference, with the other 5 teams being new teams. And so I felt like this could really be our year to get out of the West. But once you get out of the West, and this is I've been a part of other basketball teams in this league in the West Coast. Well, one. Well, now two, so teams, I can say plural. But I always saw the same thing with the teams that would win the West, and then they would go in and play Midwest, East Coast teams to try to get to win the championship. And East Coast, Midwest, and Western Conference basketball are three very different things. And so I thought it was important for us to have a system that would accomplish that goal to get to the championship game and win it. And so it's taking us a little longer to acclimate to that system than I thought. I really thought maybe after the second or third game, but we're still going through the growing pains with that, but we're still committed to it because I still believe that it's the right move and it's going to get us where we want to be at the end of the season rather than, initial let's win all our games and then be tired and exhausted by the end of the season.
I want to follow up. That's really fascinating. You say that Eastern, Midwest, and West Coast teams all play very differently. What differences do you see?
I see a huge difference in defense in terms of how aggressive defense is. And also in the offense, just the different systems. The system we're running, we run very much a similar Golden State Warriors offenses. The 4-out motion, we're running our version of rip, our version of split motion. So those are the types of systems that are designed to beat the Boston Celtics, to beat the New York Knicks, to beat the Dallas Mavericks or the Denver Nuggets. And Steve Kerr is a genius when it comes to coaching. And the first thing I did was print the 192-page playbook from the Golden State Warriors when I started thinking about what we would look like on offense and what the Jaguars would look like on defense this year.
What iteration of their playbook? Like what team? I don't know if you could actually give that away.
Oh, no. It would have been 2019.
They won a championship that year, didn't they?
I believe they did.
Yeah. I want to ask you about some of the players that have had some injuries the last 2 weeks. I know that players have been away and you haven't seen them for 5-6 days, and
Correct.
They'll be back on Wednesday, which is April 8th. But I want to ask you first on Tavo's status, because he was limited in the last game against Grant County. Not exactly sure what his injury was, but I just know that he was limited, only played about 10 minutes because he picked up a lot of fouls within just 10 minutes of playing. What's his status going forward and just his health overall?
His status is active, and he'll be back. He had a thumb injury that we were able to have treated by one of our sponsors from Laser Therapy of Oregon. Christine has been phenomenal in treating the players that have had injuries that the laser treatment is able to assist with. And so we were able to get him in right away. I don't know if it was a dislocation, but there was some weird stuff going on in that joint, which is his right hand, and he's right-handed, and it was affecting basketball. So we did limit him that game. But he is fully recovered and active.
Okay. And what about Brandon Suttles?
As everybody saw, Brandon Suttles' injury occur in our first win of the season. I believe that occurred.
That was the first one.
Towards the end of the game, last few minutes of the fourth quarter. Tailbone injury. Takes a little bit time to come back from, but he's been in therapy. Brandon's status now is he's back to full practice and active.
Okay. So day-to-day-ish?
Day-to-day-ish.
Okay. I want to transition and come over to you, Craig. Talk to us a little bit about CNC woodcutters, what you do in your business, what your business kind of stands for, and how long you've been involved and in working in the community?
So I started my business back in 2016. I was working full time, so this was sort of my little side gig. And then COVID came about, and I decided I would transition over fully to running my own shop and moving out of the house. So the core of my business started out in custom manufacturing in wood. And for an example, one of my clients is a makeup company, and I make all the makeup displays for their company. Oh. So I have work like that. At some point, I think in 2023, I decided I needed to add something additional to offset, because some of the requests had slowed down in the custom arena. So I was like, man, I had a print shop many years ago. So I thought, well, I'll leverage that and bring in promotional products, because I had a background in that and that side of marketing for businesses. So I thought, well, that should complement my business good, that, now that I'm dealing in the chambers. And chambers has substantially helped my business as well. Very awesome that Mary's in there with the team, because the amount of networking that goes on, the relationships, and then all of a sudden you've built all these relationships in those chambers, become your sales team, and then your community partners as well. So and that's what we're seeing with Mary and getting other businesses involved in there. But so anyways, even that, we've got something exciting coming with the team. I'm working on a company store, or a team store, so fans all across. So she's got players in New Jersey and all over the United States. Their friends and family can now go in through the interface. We don't have it live yet, but we'll have it live and latched to her Jaguar website here coming up pretty soon. So there's a lot of different services my business can offer. You never know. Something totally random comes through the door to working with a business, or a non-for-profit. And that's where I was sort of going to lead to is we do a lot with our non-for-profits in the local area. We provide all the non-for-profits 10% discount on all their purchases. So we really try to help our community that way, especially around our youth and that. But we're open to all non-for-profits, trying to, help them stretch their funds, because we know it's hard to raise money. So
you and Mary met at Chamber, correct?
Yeah.
At Albany Chamber.
Yeah. I was involved with the team last year for a little bit of sponsorship, and we didn't really take it that far. I did a few things. I donated some stuff for them, but this year really has changed our engagement with the team of what we were envisioning last year is now coming to fruition of all right, let's team up, and I want to, be there. If she has she had a sponsorship asked to put their logo on the jerseys, and how do we make that happen within days? Because there's a window of opportunity. We've already started the season, so it's so me and Mary worked together, and we came up with a process of this is how fast we can do it. We want to ensure that being your partner, that you can go back to your sponsor and say, hey, we can make this happen within the time frame. And the cool thing was that we even got the sponsor over to the shop when we were putting on the logos. I'm like, where do you want to put them? And we were able to solve it right there, and he was very happy, and Mary was able to fulfill that request, and so it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I washed the uniforms and delivered them to Craig, and he did the rest of the work.
They show up at the next game, they got the logo on, and the guy's super happy, right? It was a great thing.
Craig, do you personally have much experience in basketball or sports in general?
So I grew up in Michigan, and Mary's from Michigan, but I was a troll under the bridge, and so I grew up.
Explain that to Isaac.
I grew up in rural Michigan, right between Lansing and Grand Rapids, so we had Michigan State, so I was a State fan, and not a Wolverine. And I went to a private Catholic school, and we started sports basketball at third grade. Okay. So my team went undefeated for, I think, all the way through 8th grade. I ended up going to public school out of like 6th grade, so I didn't finish out with that team. So then I was a rival over in the public school, and was a starter, played center, and so I played all the way through high school, and then I got, I think, into my 10th grade year, and I was trying to already develop a career. I was really career driven, and I was like, I need a job, and so I think my 11th grade, my sophomore year or my junior year, I didn't play, and then I thought, man, I should have did that again. So I went back my senior year to try out for the team, and I got cut. I was like, I'd lost the mesh, so. But yeah, I was involved, not only Mary's Jaguars that I'm involved with some minor league baseball teams.
Oh,
so the Marion Berries up in Salem, I do a lot with them. Some of the ideas that I'm working with Mary on, I'm pitching to the Marion Berries, like, I want to do a challenge contest. So they're very open to it. So just really my business now, I worked with the Knights a couple of years ago, and they sort of connected me with the Marion Berries. So I've started building my business on, a couple local sports teams, and it's fun to participate and see, the changes and the effects that they're making in the community with our younger generation. There's not a lot of stuff for these kids to do besides getting in trouble. So it's cool to see them have this opportunity to go out and watch these teams. The excitement around, like I said, getting the autographs and that is cool, and it gives them, something to be proud of in their area. These rural communities don't have, it's really special to have this. It's fun.
Really important question. Who's your NFL team?
I'm not much a football fan.
Okay.
We'll Lions. I'm always like amazed when somebody says Lions are my team. I've been with them all my life. And I'm like, man, you're a warrior.
Right.
But
they've been really good the last 3 years.
Yeah,
so.
I sort of got behind them in the last couple of years, but they can't ever get it over the hump.
Right.
I'm like, they're there, but they just can't get there. So
I had a feeling you would say that because Mary told me. She was from Michigan, and I assumed, well, that means she's a
Packer.
She's
stuck by the Packers.
But yeah, she lived close enough to be a huge Packers fan. Like
everybody
the troll identification comes from. I was born and raised 30 miles off the Wisconsin border in the UP, the Upper Peninsula. So then the Mackinac Bridge connects the UP to the glove of Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. So we used to call everybody who lived below the bridge trolls because they live under the bridge.
Right. And us trolls called them all Youpers, right?
We are Youpers.
Yeah, they have their own song and all that.
Yeah. I'm not going to sing it though.
Yeah.
But, maybe I will. No.
The Youpers.
Shout out to the 906.
Yeah. But I'd lived, on a prior job before I'd come out to the West Coast up in her area, and I was like, oh, okay, I like it, Yeah, interesting.
All right. Well, good. That's I wanted to know, like, if there's a rivalry between you two as far as the Lions and the Packers. I have tons of friends who are Bears fans and friends who are Lions fans and friends who are Packers fans. And the Packers fans are always my favorite, but
yes.
We always had to find out like who was a good guy in the rivalry. Right. When you don't have a home team, like you really want to get behind them. You're like, I like those guys over there.
Are you a big Michigan State basketball fan?
I was when I was growing up in that Catholic school there. One of my best friends had season tickets, and we did hockey and baseball or basketball and football, and they would take me along, and it was my first experience of actually going out and seeing live sporting events. I probably would have never ever seen that or known about it if I wouldn't have had that friend of like his mom and dad would bring me along and got to experience that. So it was cool. So that sort of gave me a little bit more background than the average Joe that I've been around it, since a little kid. Yeah.
I want to switch over to our game that we have scheduled today. This we're going to call Full Court Press.
All right.
And it's basically a rapid fire question game where I have like a list of like 20 questions, and I put you on a 24-second shot clock timer to answer as many questions as you can. and whoever gets more questions right wins. Do either one of you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first.
This is going to be rapid fire, super quick. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Go.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Who's your favorite Jaguar player to watch?
Jackpot, right? Javon Henry.
Okay. Best basketball movie of all time?
Space Jam.
Who wins one-on-one, you or coach?
Me.
Describe the Jaguars season in one word.
Exciting.
Would you rather dunk or hit 10 threes in a row?
Oh, dunk all day.
And there's the timer. Man, that was quick. That was really quick. That was
Wow,
4.
24.
I might need to be quicker on the getting the.
Oh, it's 24 seconds for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
You gotta
I
be
thought it
Maybe
was
we should change it.
24
You change
seconds
it.
each
No,
question.
you can't change it now. She got to beat 4.
Oh, Lord.
Gotta be 4. Okay.
The same questions.
Different questions. So they're
Different
catered
questions.
So they're catered. That's why it's. It doesn't matter who goes first, but we'll see. Ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Go.
3, 2, 1. Who's the best shooter on the team?
Preston.
Who talks the most trash in practice?
Preston.
One word to describe this team.
Resilient.
Who's the most underrated player?
Tavo.
What's one thing that has to improve immediately?
Defense.
Toughest team you've faced this season?
Great Electric.
Who's the funniest guy in the locker room?
Kevin.
Toughest, sorry. Biggest strength of this team right now. And there's the timer. You got to. I said who's the funniest guy in the locker room?
Yes.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Did we check
job.
to make sure the answers are right?
Could hit rewind and wind it back.
That was fun. That was fun.
I might need to make it a college shot clock and make it 30 seconds, but you did volunteer to go first.
Yeah.
And I
That's hard. That's
tried
hard
to make
go
it rapid
first.
fire,
all right.
but yeah.
We let them practice. Huh?
Yeah.
You're right, all right.
I didn't want to beat you.
So wrapping up, we're looking ahead a little bit to what's to come for the Jaguars. They have the All-Star break this weekend on the 10th and 11th and 12th. But moving forward, the weekend after, you guys have 2 home games against the Grant County Red Tails on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th. Coach, you've already played this team twice, haven't beaten them yet. What do you have to do differently?
We definitely have to limit their second chance points. We have to value the ball. We are having way too many turnovers, especially against this team in the 2 times that we've played them. And we need to make our free throws. Those 3 things, if you go back and you look not only against Grant County, but those 3 things, we clean those up, we're winning by 15-20, not losing by 12-18.
You may not know this off the top of your head, but one thing that's sort of developing as the season goes along is some of the game changer spotlights for our home games. I know you don't have a list in front of you right now, so if you could talk about it just off the top of your head, like what's upcoming, who are you guys spotlighting?
I do. On April 17th, we are spotlighting Project Gearbox, which is a very small nonprofit out of the Independence Monmouth area that collects sports equipment for kids who can't afford to go out and buy sports equipment. The following night, the 18th, is Habitat for Humanity night. So you can look for some surprises from them on the 18th. On April 24th, we have what we're calling Recovery Night, where we'll be celebrating the people who work in addiction and recovery services, and also people that have been on that journey and have now successfully re-engaged in their lives after that rough road. So we also have our Adopt Don't Shop night related to pets. That will be our final home game on May 24th. That's going to be a big deal. But on May 1st will be our Every Child night. and that will be every child in casa and celebrating our foster families and the youth who are part of foster families. So those are, and then of course our multicultural night I believe is April 25th, following the recovery night, because against that doubleheader with North Dakota. So yeah, we got a lot of really cool organizations that we're celebrating coming up. So,
and that's exciting that every home game going forward now is going to have
every home game
a nonprofit that you're sponsoring or spotlighting. Players just took a week off. Some of them went home. Some of them stayed here. They'll be back on Wednesday, 2 days from now, because we're recording this on Monday. What are you emphasizing in practice this week to move forward the rest of the season?
Continuing to practice and, perfect, for lack of a better word, our system. Really working on a lot of defense. And rebounding drills. And we're spending a lot of time watching film of our past games so we can watch our mistakes, we can learn from them, move on. And the guys are actually really good about that because we have a TBL TV account that the team gets and we get to log into. So every time a player logs in, a code is sent to my phone or my email. And so pretty much all day long, I'm sending codes to players, trainers, coaches, myself. So that's how I know they're watching film.
That's good. Any final thoughts or final words before we wrap things up?
Well, I want to say that without our sponsors, like Craig, McPherson, and CNC Woodcutters, and the numerous other sponsors and community partners and the chambers, the Jaguars are not where we are today. And those relationships are so important, and so thankful that that you invited me back with Craig to talk about that, because it's just, the relationships are so important, and the success that the team is having is evident of that.
It takes a village.
It sure does.
That's what they
sure
say.
does.
Entire Albany village.
We're excited Mary has stepped up to the plate. And it's a big, overwhelming thing that she's running here. Then we all need to get behind her and help her so it stays around. I mean, it's huge. Yeah. It's awesome.
What a great way to end our episode of Jags Beyond the Baseline. Again, really, really grateful that both of you decided to come on today. And, good luck in your TBL All-Star break weekend. And then we'll see you next weekend on 17th and 18th at Lynn Benton Community College.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Jaguars Beyond the Baseline. If you want to find out more about the Jaguars, you can go to their website at wvjags.com or follow them on their social channels at wvjags or search for Willamette Valley Jaguars online.